Good evening, everyone. Lilia from Heal Scotland here yet again for the 100th time today. So, I wanted to talk to you about a potential healing centre in Scotland. Hilary and I, this is my friend Hilary. Hilary, hi, how you doing?
Sorry, I've just muted myself. I didn't realise we were going live here.
Ah, right,
Hi.
okay.
Hi.
So Hilary um, was at the first community that we ran, and she helped me for 3 months at Barmolach Farm, which was a few years ago now, 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago.
Four, I think.
Um,
5 years
and
ago.
five.
Yeah,
Right, well, that's right, because my mum was still alive when we started. That's right. My
that's
God,
flown in.
time flies. I know.
Really
Um,
nice.
yeah, so what we did that in that community was we rented the cottages for 3 months, and we took 9 people through a 3 month program. And the idea was we pretty much know what you have to do in order to heal. But obviously, that can be a real struggle for people that don't understand what they have to do or motivating themselves or keeping going. So what we did was we just had a program that they followed every day, which was fresh juice. It was primarily vegan food, although not like 100%. We had supposed to be out in the garden for a couple hours in the morning. We never quite managed that every day, but the idea was being outside with nature, getting your hands in the soil. And then in the afternoon we would do some class, some letting go, whatever, some more teaching, then we would have dinner. And then usually by that time everybody was knackered. We didn't really do much in the evenings, but in the morning we did breath work and we did the cold water. Well, some people did. So it's a very simple program to prove that if you just do certain things every single day, after a period of time, your body will respond and start the healing process. So we categorically demonstrated. Helen at the farm, who is a physiotherapist, she did a lot of the measurements, and we did that before and after an analysis, and you could see visibly how much better and how much more mobile everybody that was. And one guy that had cancer, his cancer markers had completely normalised. We had a girl that had a stroke. She was walking without sticks. So it was a pretty spectacular result. But obviously that's not really a model that, well, certainly I wouldn't repeat that. Pretty sure you wouldn't either, Hilary. It was
No.
it was a level of torture that you would have to actually to be part of it to understand. Because the reality, we thought it was going to be pretty simple. Do this for 3 months, everybody would be really grateful and happy and delighted. But of course, that's not quite what happens, because what happens is when you take everybody's habits away, then the ego comes in, and you get issues. And the other thing, obviously, is living in a community. When you're used to living on your own, be very challenging. I come from a big family. I was brought up in a house with 8 people, so it wasn't really a big deal for me. But for a lot of people nowadays, that's just like their idea of hell on earth. And there was a level of intolerance as well of each other. So it was quite an interesting experiment. But to all intents and purposes, we demonstrated that we absolutely know what people have to do. But it's a case of how can we impart that and how can we help. So we have potentially got a site in Skye to set up a pop-up healing centre in the winter. So what we wanted to do was come on tonight and discuss it with you guys to see what is it that people actually want, what can help you, what would you like to see that you could think, I need this, or I would need to learn this, or I would need to stay there, or I would need to, what is it you would actually need, so that we can create a place that can help as many people as possible. Because the other thing that I would say from our experience 5 years ago is that putting too many people that are sick together is not really didn't really work, because instead of bringing each other up, they were bringing each other down. So I think that's something else that has to be considered. So there's a lot of things that we understand now, certainly for moving forward to opening a pop-up healing centre, that we would do differently. So Hilary, do you want to speak a little bit as to your experience? Because you were actually helping, but you were also kind of working in your own healing as well.
Yeah. I was kind of a hybrid. I was just taking part in the community as I was helping you. So it changed my life. I was a lot of the issues I had I was healing, continued after I left. I think that was one of the things we said. As soon as you go back to your old life and, your old environments, all the things that you used to do start creeping back in, bad habits start creeping back in. So, but it definitely set me up on my healing journey. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, and that's all down to you, really. Well, and the work that I've put in. But yeah, I couldn't have done it without you.
You've been pretty relentless, haven't you? I mean, you don't really take much time off from it.
No, I've just always known. There's just always been something in me that said, I don't have to live like this. I don't have to suffer. And it's not been easy. You know yourself. It's, if you want to heal yourself, you have to put the work in, and it's a challenge. Be easy to just say, I can't be arsed. And that, in all honesty, I've said that so many times. Can't be, get off the sugar, and then a couple of months later, you're like, I feel like crap. I just want to eat crap. It's a cycle. I think every time you go through the cycle, you come out the other side stronger. So yeah, I think it's such a powerful thing to give to people. But yeah, like you were saying, we need to work out how to do it so it supports people in a way that they need. And I think having some kind of aftercare as well of some sort, send them back into the world with tools or a support network. I don't know how that would work or what it would look like, but
yes. Well, I mean, I've talked for ages about a similar, like to the AA model, where we have, where people help people.
Yeah.
And, I know that, like, my friend who's a doctor, a GP, he's now working in addiction, but he came to the same conclusions as us, which are mainly 3 months is not long enough, although a lot of people think 3 months is a long time. If you're looking at rewiring your brain and changing and releasing habits, then that's just a snapshot in time. And also going back into the old environment that you came from, where inevitably, the best of us, and I include myself in that. I know when I moved in with my mum and with my aunt, there's crap everywhere that I would never have in my own, in my own caravan or my own space. And so you've got times where just because it's there, you eat it. It's like, why are you eating that? That's crazy. Whereas if it's not there, I don't think about it.
Yeah.
So they're definitely, the environment is key, isn't it?
Yeah. If nothing changes in your environment when you go back home, you're going to revert back to your old ways eventually. I don't know if there's anyone from the community that kept up all the protocols, regularly. I mean, I know I didn't.
No, we did. I mean, it was an extreme. That's what we were there for. That's what we were there to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we all came out of it healthier. There was no, much as emotionally it could have been challenging. Certainly on a physical level, we were flying pretty high. Because remember, we went down to the Truths Fest straight after we left.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. Yeah, so I think what we're really looking, you have to put the work in it. That somebody's saying, yeah, nothing changes until we do. And I think for me, you're looking at, if you can put people into categories, obviously cancer's a big category, and I tend to get people that have, been diagnosed with, kind of terminal or a bit worried, although it's changing now. People are now choosing not to have chemotherapy. That's definitely on the increase. So there's people who need support from that. Then there's all the autoimmune issues, and I include type 2 diabetes in that. And then you've got all the anxiety, depression, etc. And obviously a lot of these things cross over. I'm not saying that, that they don't. So it would seem to me that, well, what we did at the community in Barmolloch was every weekend we had a training course, which was incredible for us. But the harsh reality was that a lot of the people that were on it weren't well enough to really learn. And I realised that as well. We had these incredible teachers coming to impart their knowledge and their gifts. But the thing is, if you're really chronically sick, you're not going to sit in a 2-day course, and so that was naivety on my part, I think. But I think we do have to have some level of education, so that's why anybody that's listening out there, if you have any health issues, what is it that you need? What would you like to see in a healing centre? And what would really help you?
Yeah. What are the things you're struggling the most with?
Yeah. And I think, clearly fear is one of the things around, particularly cancer, say, especially if you're diagnosed, late stage. There's a lot of fear, and there can obviously be a lot of fear around the treatments that you're getting, because it's a pretty horrible thought to have to go through a lot of these treatments. So there's that side of the, the emotional side. But also I think there's if you're really tired and you can't get out the house, maybe you're disabled, what is there a level of residential help that could, that would be of use? Because I always thought if Barmolloch eventually turns into a full-time healing centre, that people could come for a week and then go home for a few weeks and then come back, so that you could come and go as and when you needed to get more information, or, to get a top up of understanding, or just to get some respite or whatever, So nobody's talking to us.
How many people have we got watching?
There's about 20 people on. If anybody's got any ideas as to how it would look, what would you like to see? Courses? Do you think we need a residential place? Cooking lessons. We know Janice Klein's doing a phenomenal job over in the Wellness Hub, explaining to people about diversity and getting lots and lots of vegetables in. Because that's another thing working in community garden would be good. Yeah. Well, that's what we thought. Working in a community garden. Definitely, if you've got a community garden in your area, that's an absolute no-brainer to go and get involved there, even if it's, you can do some exchange. Spaces to rest. I live with rheumatoid arthritis, and outdoor space with all the elements, but I fear a world where we pay for the very act of being human in nature. Yeah, absolutely. I've always seen it like a healing oasis where you can just come and be. There would need to be a beautiful garden, obviously, forest preferably, water, maybe a mountain there as well. I think a mix of all that you're saying is great. Ultimately, it's community that makes a difference, I think. Yeah. It's hard to know for sure. Yeah, cooking good for people who are struggling. The other thing that I was wondering about was I think we need to have a much clearer understanding of what the body is and the power that we have over it. And also, I think how to detox. In other words, how to get old information out the body and new information in. I was talking to Freddie. I don't know if you saw Freddie. He was on earlier.
I missed that. I'll need to catch up.
He's fantastic. And he's just talking about getting more light in, more light in via the water, via the food, via our thoughts, the lighter and brighter that we can be. So I think, there's so many different things that you can teach now, the power of sound, because obviously what you want to do is you want to be able to inspire everybody, regardless of what is wrong and what level of ability they're at. So that's something they can do in the house, something that they can come to if they need extra support. Establishing a peer support type community network that meet weekly or monthly and check in with a leader.
I think that.
Yes, we've talked about that. You've talked about that for the sugar as well, haven't you, Hilary?
Yeah, I'm part of couple of groups that do the peer support for sugar addiction. But it's interesting, in the world of sugar addiction, they don't recommend residential, because they say, you go away for a weekend or a week, maybe a bit longer. I think in America they have more kind of detox facilities for that sort of thing. But then as soon as people get back home, they just revert because it's an addiction. So one of the groups that I'm in, they actually focus on supporting people in their homes and in their lives day to day. So one of the ones I'm in, they actually have 17 hours a day of Zoom calls. So I think they have 3 daily check-ins. They have activity groups. If you've got I don't know, like 20 different hobby groups. If you've got a specific hobby, you can join these groups. So there's always a call, and you can even just put it on in the background and mute yourself, have your camera off, just so you're just constantly bombarding yourself with that positive, reinforcement from people that have done it and are going through it.
I think with sugar addiction, that's a brilliant, because the bottom line is you're going to be in your home and you can't avoid food.
Yeah.
And that's, it's not like alcohol or any other kind of drugs where you can try and make sure they're not in your house. We all have to eat, and also, a lot of my clients are mums. So there's a lot of different foods in the house that, maybe you're not really wanting to eat, but your kids will eat, or your husband will eat, or if you've got grown teenagers, so I can see that being able to manage that at home is essential. Somebody's put a holistic dentist. We've got a holistic dentist, Stuart, up in Oban, and he is going to be training more people how to remove amalgam safely, because we don't have enough around. A lunar calendar of events: singing, dancing, fasting, breathing, tapping. Yeah, I think there's plenty of that going on, to be honest. I think the Healing Centre would have that, but I think there's plenty of these things going on around the communities. So I think you can tap into that, and there's a lot of that on YouTube as well. So for this healing centre, put people's pictures up that need healing, and we could also heal them remotely. Yeah, that's not really what I'm thinking for the centre, because it's more practical, because there's lots of people doing remote healing and prayer healing and all that sort of stuff. But I'm not saying we wouldn't do that, but what I'm looking for is what we can actually practically do at the centre that would help as many people as possible. What do you need to learn? How to live in a way that is going to be conducive to a healing process, and how you can support each other. Sorry, I'm just going through all the comments here.
A big question. I like that. The key is the support back home, the ongoing community that follows the experience that elevated you. I remember one of the first retreats I went to years ago. I think it was like a fire walking retreat or something. But I came home after the weekend feeling great. And then like a week later, I was back to feeling, this was way back when I wasn't very well. And I was just miserable again. And I was kind of thinking, how can you get, so high on a weekend away where you're building your energy up? And it's taken me a long time to get to the point where I've got that, and it's not the high energy, but that consistent, just kind of feeling good in yourself. It takes a long time to get there. And I think you need to top yourself up by being around positive people and positive environments.
Other people are absolutely, I've always been so lucky because I've got 4 hilarious brothers and all my friends are hilarious. So I've always had such a laugh my entire life. My kids are hilarious. So my grandkids are hilarious. So I have to say, laughing has been a huge part of my literally daily life. So but the reality is that you go on a holiday and you have an amazing time, whether it's a retreat or whether it's just a fantastic holiday, and you come back and you've kind of got to get back into the kind of humdrum, if you like. The support back home, I think we also want to keep it as simple as possible, so that people can, because we need this all over. I mean, every single town has to have a place where people can go. The practical stuff of offering step-by-step ways, maybe one weekend a month or even day a week. Start with basic concepts and building the tiny habits that stick back home. Yeah, I think again, like I was talking about, you've got varying levels of disease, sickness. So you've got people that can say, right, I'll start making changes over the next few years. Some people don't have that time. So we'll have to have maybe courses for people who are like, right, okay, I need to get on this ASAP. Or maybe you're just totally fed up, being really tired and needing support coming off a lot of allopathic drugs. So I think the residential part, or also if you have got young kids and you just can't concentrate at home, you need to be away out your environment for a little bit. But obviously the challenge is always going being back to that environment.
Yeah.
And then it's how...
Yeah, sorry, I think we were talking before we went live about that, you know, sending people home with a kind of toolkit of things that they can keep doing. I don't know what that would look like, but some kind of support kind of after they leave.
Yeah. And I mean, Zach Bush is doing that now, putting people together. You know what? If anybody's listening and they've chosen not to have chemotherapy, I would like to have put people who are doing that together so that they've got their own tribe and their own support network, because it's very difficult. Because you can be up against an awful lot of pressure if you choose the road less travelled. So I think, you know, there's not going to be a one size fits all here, but we need to get as many good ideas. I'm super passionate about building bridges in my community here in West Edinburgh, providing free wellbeing spaces, activities, and providing a drop-in. Builds a collective here in Edinburgh, creating sober spaces to gather, dream and imagine together. There are around 30 of us. Some of the healing moments of when we gather together in our communities, growing food in our gardens or in our windows. Yeah, that sounds great. I trust plants more than Western meds. Me too. Warrior buddies. Yeah, so, but in terms of, yeah, I suppose I'm going to be meeting with a few people this week as well, to talk about what could have helped them, you know, in terms of if you decide not to do what everybody else is doing. I think that's a huge issue. You can get railroaded into treatments, either because it happens so quickly you've not had time to think, or because you're too scared. That's a real kind of area that really concerns me, that people are doing stuff that they don't really want to do, and where you can go to actually feel calm and to really tune in and decide what's right for you. And it might be the same choice, but you're not getting railroaded and scared into doing something too quickly. So maybe if we have this place for, say, 3 months, it's probably going to be different courses. I don't know what the best way is to do that, and what kind of courses people need. I mean, obviously foraging's becoming really, really popular. Making your own foods, ferments, you know, learning how to preserve foods, how to make your own medicines, that kind of thing. What about managing emotions, dealing with fear around what the body's doing? Because clearly so many people are scared of their own bodies, and that's just crazy. But obviously we know it's when we go into that fear state, that's how we get controlled by others, rightly or wrongly. Oh, there's your Hillary.
All I can see is Facebook user for all.
I know, that's all I can see too. So
that Heather, maybe. Might be Heather.
It sounds a wee bit like Heather, doesn't it? Yeah.
Heather, if that's you, give us a thumbs up.
So, you know, a couple of people had messaged me about their thyroid issues, and they want to come off the meds, and should they come off the meds, and also fibromyalgia, huge issue, type 2 diabetes, still people fighting with obesity and, you know, excess weight. So I don't know whether we should be looking and maybe put together courses aimed at specific issues. As your addictions all gradually go, you need something new to fill the gaps. That's absolutely right. As you, and definitely as you get older, a lot of your addictions just naturally dissolve, and they know that. I think even by 40, a lot of them, for most of us, have kind of lost their power. It's Izzy.
Izzy.
Hi, Izzy.
Hi, Izzy.
So I think, yeah, definitely as our pub culture has died, we need to be finding other ways to get together and socialise. And, Kaylee's dancing, we know that that's so good for us. And we have to be looking to do that in our communities. And I think, to be honest, a lot of communities are already doing it. There's a lot of great stuff going on. Somebody was telling me you can learn quilting here. There's crocheting, knitting. I think in most communities there are things if you look around them. Marianne, I can see you there. Yes, coping mechanisms for our own health, self-healing. I'm looking into a course called Spinal Flow, which is blowing my mind. Sound is also, sound frequencies are where it's at. Yeah, I think definitely what we're doing obviously with the challenges is getting everybody intermittent fasting, then now we're on breath work. We'll be doing EFTs, just encouraging these habits.
And I
Issues in
think
your
the more you do them as well, I've certainly found that the more I do, sometimes you do the work and you just feel like you're not making a difference. But I think you just have to be consistent and keep showing up. And it does, eventually, if you do enough letting go, if you spend enough time with you, Lilia, letting go. I've done a heck of a lot letting go over the last 5 years. And the more you let go, the easier it becomes. And letting go techniques are, like EFT, Sedona method. I mean, they're so simple. And even if it feels like they aren't working, just keep at it, because they just chip away and chip away and chip away. And then you suddenly go, I've actually been making a difference doing that.
It's the repetition, the practice, the practice, they're not giving up. We are sober dancing on 16th of February here in Wester Hailes, 5 till 7. Be welcome. Oh, that sounds great. Something around epigenetics and your genes not being your destiny would help loads of people change their beliefs. Well, that's Bruce Lipton's work, The Biology of Belief. Brilliant book. This is badly needed at this time as our health service is failing. Yeah, our health services, I feel so sorry for the doctors and nurses that are working in there. It's horrendous for them. But I think most of us now are understanding, particularly with autoimmune, is that there are no drugs to fix it. The drugs are not going to make you better. They might help you manage the symptoms, but they might also make you worse long term. So, but then coming off them, you have to be really mindful about that as well. I think most people now, and I'm pretty sure if you're on this live, you understand that you're not going to heal by taking a lot of pharmaceutical drugs, because what they do to the rest of the body, and particularly to the microbiome. So food, which is where they all come from anyway, the herbs and the plants, they're all made from that. Somebody's saying much healthier awful. Yeah, so many people come to me and tell me stories of coming off 30 pills a day. Well, we took my aunt off about that. It took us about a year to get her off all of them, because some of them were really heavy duty, but she's like absolutely a new woman and she's 89. So I have seen it with my own two eyes very recently. And this is the thing, but if you're being scared into, you need to, if it's your thyroid or if it's, diabetes, if you don't take these pills, you'll die kind of thing. But it's very challenging, so sometimes you have to get a lot of protocols and also a deep understanding around the body and why your thyroid's maybe malfunctioning, rather than just trying to put the oil light out. You're actually getting to the root cause and dealing with that. And I think the other big thing, as we know as well, Hilary, from the last retreat, is the keeping on. Knowledge doesn't heal you. It doesn't matter how many PhDs you've got. If you don't take the action, you're not going to get the result. And, we've now complicated food to the degree that people don't even know what to eat. They don't actually even know what is healthy, because it's like, oh, is that the nightshade family? Oh, is that dairy? Oh, is that soy? It's just like, oh, every single food that you name now, somebody can tell you a terrible story about it. So if you have a really leaky gut with, a parasites, flukes, worms, viruses, all the stuff that we've all got, and your pH is out of balance and you've got a bit of a cesspit going on in your middle, then you can 100% change that. But it's only you that can do it by doing the work and cleaning up the diet. And that therein lies the issue. And what can happen if you just liken it to dieting, if you've ever dieted, it's the exact same thing. People think, oh, well, if I had cancer or if I had that, I would be different. No, you probably wouldn't. It doesn't really matter what the reason is for changing your diet. For some reason, that's the trickiest thing. That's the thing that people fall down in. And also, you can start off great gusto, excited, because let's face it, healing should be an exciting journey. You're going to get well, you're going to get clarity, you're going to get energy, you're going to be excited about your life. Why would you not be excited about that journey? And then, of course, what happens is you're a few weeks in, and then you start getting bored. And then you revert back. And that is really common. So if you're saying to somebody, look, with Candida, for example, 18 months, cancer's 2 years of change, that's what you have to be looking at to truly heal, then that's just out with some people's parameters. It's just too big, it's too long. And that's why you have to start with these kind of bite-sized pieces and say, right, okay, let's start. What's one thing we can do? Don't eat 3 hours before you go to bed. And, really just finding these bite-sized ways to make a huge impact in your energy level so that you have the energy to make better choices. Big Pharma just masks the symptoms, mass disease caused by trauma, and the food we eat back to basics. Yeah, exactly. We're getting poisoned. I was diagnosed after being really sick in 2020 with RA. No meds, but plants have turned my life around. Brilliant. That's great to hear, because RA is horrible. Any arthritis is horrible, particularly RA. And it's becoming more prevalent, as a lot of these diseases are. Can't expect to change a lifetime of subconscious beliefs instantly. Yeah. All these conversations are empowering for the kids of today, I hope. Yeah, my daughter's been dealing with vestibular inflammation, and she just got her diet sorted out and was on not very many protocols, but a few. And I was just watching her and I thought, God, she's lucky. She knows what to do. She understands already, and I think that's what we want is, and I say that to my grandkids. I mean, they're all, because I'm always going on about how much shite they eat. And they of course they fight back, and if they're eating something horrible, then they'll look at me while they're doing it, because they're doing it to spite me. And I'm saying, look, I just want you to understand. I want to educate you, so that if at any time you want to lose some weight, you want to gain some energy, or you want to heal something, or you've got a rash, you know what to do. That's what it's got to be about. And then give them that information so that hopefully at some point in the future, if they ever needed it, they know exactly what to do, rather than, being the victim of the body, which so many people are. We're all in our heads. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Well, we definitely want our kids to be as healthy and our grandkids to be as healthy as possible. I think, obviously, the other thing, obviously, the whole emotional side, the PTSD, past traumas, etc. I think, that's another area of understanding how that a lot of bodily pain can come from emotional stuff. And the biofield viewer will definitely help us to identify that. And then, but again, there's also a willingness to look at yourself, isn't there? That being honest. That I think that's probably, like Carolyn May says it, liars don't heal. If you're not, because we knew people were cheating. It was obvious. There was one guy that his belly was getting fatter and fatter. You just knew he was going to look out bed and eating a lot of shite. I mean, you don't really need words. So it's that being honest, isn't it? It's being willing to absolutely own everything, and to, I suppose, at some level, be willing to look at the past, although that can be really hard. Understanding is a big part. I learned about microbiome and it's changed my life. Yeah, absolutely. The microbiome's a game changer. My kids do that too, constantly raising their eyebrows. It's a tricky one with kids because obviously you don't want to make them paranoid about sugar, but also at the same time, it's absolutely your responsibility to make sure that they understand they can't just keep putting a whole load of dead, empty calories into their body. It's going to destroy their beautiful wee organs. Yeah, so I think this conversation could go on for quite some time. So my questions would be, do we need part residential that people can come and stay? Should we be looking at targeting specific issues, i.e., fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, all MS, Parkinson's, etc. Cancer, should we be looking at more a demographic, hormone balancing? Should we be looking at teaching people how to eat, how to grow food? That's got to be on the agenda, obviously. We'll not have a garden there in the winter, obviously, but I think certainly we could be doing window boxes and hydroponics, and just even if you can get a few diverse greens. And plus, you can forage quite a lot, actually, pretty much all year here. So you are able to get, you feed your microbiome from that diversity. So I think foraging definitely, and making your own medicines. Like Claire was talking the other night about that cough mixture, because so many people have got these coughs right now, and making it with onion and garlic, it's completely cheap to make, and it's, exactly what's in it. There is a bit of sugar in it as well, but it's if it works and helps the cough. Great to see you pair with I lost all my info, but I have Insta and just checked it a couple of days. It's 5 years. Great work. I stopped sugar 6 weeks ago now. I know it's in everything. I also had to tuning fork treatment. Yeah, it's sound's the way ahead. We've got amazing technology with sound. And I don't know why everybody's not using it, because you just lie there and listen, just let the frequencies heal you. And obviously sound baths and bowls.
I didn't. I've been. I get the whole frequency and sound healing. I mean, you go to a sound bath and you just feel it. But it wasn't until I watched your chat with Deborah Drake that it really kind of came home to me, and I just thought, wow, I need to get my amp coil sorted out.
Absolutely. We watched that live with Freddie today. I mean, it's you need. I think sometimes you just need to be reminded.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's the right timing as well.
Yeah. We all need to be shown to make sure we're doing it right and can get our confidence. It's Firesider. It's all in the route. Have you heard of the Oxygen Experience? I don't know if I have.
There's the Oxygen Advantage.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I've heard of the Oxygen Experience.
Yeah, I think really more than I think it's got to be education and inspiration. As I say, there's we're going round, and we're in Dundee this weekend. Everywhere we're going, there are loads of incredible teachers, therapists, healers. And so I think within the communities, that's what the Heal Scotland idea is, to bring an umbrella to help you find people in your area. Because this is about people helping and supporting people, and also, understanding why is sound therapy so powerful, because we are literally a stringed instrument. That's why everything is a frequency, and the sound is a frequency. So when we do the festivals in April, we're going to have a come and meet section. So you will be able to come and meet a homeopath, Heartworks, bioresonance teacher. You'll be able to experience the amp coil. You'll be able to come and learn all about these things that, if you need to use them, or if you need to find somebody, then at least you're educated and you understand, okay, right, let me do this, so that if the day came that you ever needed to support your body more, that you're already educated and you understand what to do. 2 guys who started it up incorporating technology with sound and breath work. It's amazing. It's Reese and Grant. Yes, yeah. Because what they're doing is they're kind of doing an inner dance experience. Yeah, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Sounding like, yeah. I was off sugar for 160 days. I get very sick after 7 days and my hands blew up. It was super interesting. And I think in some ways I need to be back on that journey. Yeah, the sugar is a real interesting one. Because it's, well, they're just saying it's so addictive. This is, isn't it? It's addictive as heroin to some people.
Yeah.
Nicotine, you know, I've never really understood the nicotine addiction, but it's just so addictive for some people. And it's, I think it's important what you said about not putting people, to feed negativity, feeding people's emotional needs. This is something that I'm trying to get across at the moment. Same way of showing this as a community if necessary. Yeah, absolutely, it makes sense. People can either, it's a bit like Peter D'Adamo says, they can be medicine, they can be neutral, or they can be poison. And we all know them. I've been poisoned myself plenty of times when you're in that place. But now more than ever, you know, we're aware we need to move up and away from the blame and shaming and complaining. And, you know, with taking responsibility for your own health, it's a 180-degree shift from you fix me to I fix me. Or there's no fixing actually to be done. There's just a case of balancing the internal and the external environment. So yeah, I think there's brilliant things going on in every community. I mean, even in Argyll, which Loch Elphead, which is a small community, there's lots of things, and I suppose to some degree you just need to get out and find them, and actually, you know, don't complain that there's nothing on, and then don't go and support things that are on. And I know that obviously money can be an issue for people if you're, you know, you can't be going to 3 classes a week, 2 retreats a month if you're, you know, if your budget's tight. So I get that, but there's also lots. That's why I think, you know, I think somebody said it up there where it can be free. We have to take money out of healing. We have to, because we cannot have an agenda. And I've actually had to block some people, which I really don't like doing. And I'll tell you why, because I can't be bothered answering all the questions and teaching online etiquette, because I just simply don't have time. If people start messaging me, what are they doing? What are they doing? I just can't, I just do not have the time to do it. So I'm just like that, sorry, get out my house just now. I'm too busy. So create the blueprint for a healing hub and invite people to come live and replicate it. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing I'm thinking about. I'm thinking we can stream a lot of stuff from the healing community, stream the courses, because the way I see it is, do you understand your roots of elimination, how these organs have to be clean and cleared in order for you to be able to, you know, function well, your liver. So these things, you know, the packing, the cleaning of the liver, etc., and how you do that. I was thinking very practical things, particularly obviously for people that have been diagnosed with cancer. And then I think food is a big thing, much as I find it really boring. As I keep saying, don't eat shite. It's as simple as that, and eat a lot of vegetables. So, but I think people enjoy the cooking, and if you can mix it in with the growing and the cooking and the foraging, and you know, there's a real ceremony almost in that, I think. So I think the food is absolutely a huge thing, because food is our medicine, and as soon as we change our diet back to our indigenous diet, most people are going to heal anyway. It's beautiful to see people uniting in communities, particularly strong, beautiful women, open hearts all around. Yeah, 100%. We're so excited to be in Dundee this weekend, because the Goddess Gathering was just so powerful and so much fun. Yeah, so I think we're definitely all getting the community thing, the food thing, the sugar thing. So I think possibly what for us, like when we were at the community, it was all about the protocol, and there's literally hundreds of different protocols that you can do, and but what you really have to look at is how much time do I have, you know, and that will obviously depend on how how serious the disease or your illness would be, or your issue would be, and then what can you genuinely add into your day to support your body, and then how can you do that every single day until your body gets a chance to respond. So I think helping people to set up protocols. I always say, like, what have you got for breath work? 5 minutes. Well, here, do a 5 minute breath work. It doesn't need to be for an hour. You know, maybe one day you do have an hour. Maybe suddenly you've got space in the afternoon. You can do an hour's breath work. But in general, it's about finding things that are going to make you feel great and manage that. Whereas if you come in and try and change too many things, you end up failing, giving up, and then you feel so much worse. Hilary, can you just tell, for people that haven't met you really, can you tell them what health issues you had and like really where you've come from? Because I'm just really remembering, you know, 'cause you really suffered from chronic fatigue really badly, didn't you?
I did when I was younger. It's hard to remember now because I'm feeling so good. But I got glandular fever when I was 12. And my parents went through a messy divorce. And I was never, and my mum actually said to me a while ago that my sister got the whooping cough vaccine when she was young, but I didn't get it. I must have been at that cut-off point, so I didn't get it. But I caught it from my sister from the vaccine. And I got it really bad. My mum always said I was never the same after that. But I was always just, as a teenager, I was just exhausted. I had no energy. I was drinking 2 litres of Iron Brew a day, addicted. And then even into my 20s, I had a really bad diet. And even into my 20s, I was, you know, I don't even know how I held down a job, but I'd come home from work and just go straight to bed. I'd sleep from Friday night to Monday morning, not getting out of my bed. I mean, I had no quality of life. It was pretty horrendous. And then my diet started getting a bit better in my 20s, and I recognised the connection between what I was eating and how I felt. And I was, you know, the first time you have that realisation, you're like, it's mental. You know, you're like, I actually feel different for eating different. You know, my diet was appalling. So then I got interested in nutrition, but I had really bad depression, anxiety. Yeah, I was a mess. But I kind of just always knew that I could fix it somehow. I mean, there were times where I was hopeless, thinking I was never going to come out of it. And it took, you know, 20, 30 years to get from being a teenager and in my 20s feeling that way to where I am now. It's been a long journey. You know, we can't expect to abuse our bodies for decades and then just expect to feel great overnight. It is a journey.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing. I think it's, you know, like getting clean or sober or whatever it is, the journey that you're on, it is that one day at a time, and then, you know, just getting to the next day. Because I think if you look, it's a bit like if you're trying to lose, I don't know, say 5 stone as opposed to half a stone. It can just seem you have to break it down into kind of bite-sized pieces and think, right, okay, and it's staying in that day. And I think the 12-step program is brilliant for all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just do what you can today, and then
Yeah.
it's a new day, and then do what you can today again. But we definitely know it's much more fun to do it together.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what's nice now when you go to, I mean, I think everybody since COVID is making different friends, because I think COVID really separated a lot of friendships, you know, that could never really be the same again. And I know a lot of people say, I just, you know, want to meet like-minded souls. So when you go out to things like yoga, or qigong, or tai chi, sound baths, Reiki, you know, these kind of things, you're going to meet people that are on a similar wavelength, which is that, you know, we are now having to start to take control of our health, because our health system is probably not going to exist by the looks of things in another few years. And if we can take the weight off it so that it only has to deal with the people that absolutely critically need it, then everybody's going to benefit from that.
Yeah, and it's overwhelming as well. You know, it's like you say, just take it one day at a time. But I was just constantly overwhelmed. There's no way I could have done, you know, half a dozen protocols. It is just, and when you're eating the processed food as well, it affects your brain, so you can't actually focus. I can't remember, there's a term for it where your brain, I used to wake up in the morning and I'd lie in my bed and I'd be like, right, what am I going to have for my breakfast? Maybe I'll miss breakfast and just have lunch. Maybe I'll fast this morning, but I need to get up and meditate. But I don't have time to meditate. And there was just this constant, like, no, 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 no. I'd lie in my bed for about an hour with this going through my head, and I'd be like, I've just wasted an hour doing nothing. You know, it's like, and I do that every day for hours. And people can maybe relate to it, but when you're on the processed food, that's what it does to your brain. You can't make, you know, it affects the different parts of your brain. So you can't actually focus on actually getting anything done. It's nuts.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's a very good point. It's the same with the microbiome. You know, we're beating ourselves up because we've got no willpower, and you know, we're craving this, and why do I want this? And you know, and it's literally because we've trained the body like that. The microbiome, and it might not even be through any fault of your own. Maybe you've had antibiotics or something. You know, maybe you've been traveling in a foreign country, having sex in a foreign country, and taking things into the body that are now eating a lot of your minerals and your trace elements, and then you get leaky gut, or you get dysbiosis, or you've had food poisoning, and all these things are going to affect, like, you know, like you were saying there, that journey where you know, how we all get sick, and we've all been on it, you know, and then you go to the dentist and they put mercury in your mouth, and then, you know, you start using a lot of makeup that's got, and body products that are full of lead and aluminium. So, you know, it's really no wonder that and then of course the food chain doesn't have any of the nutrition that it used to have either. So it's really, I just think it's a miracle we're actually all still alive. I think we're doing pretty good.
Body's pretty resilient, isn't it?
Oh,
Trying to keep us in
totally.
balance.
Yeah, I had glandular fever about 18ish, mono, and yeah, the fatigues. I had chronic fatigue as well when I was younger, and depression, and I went on and I took the yellow fever vaccine to go to India, and that just put me right over the edge. And I went on a detox myself because I realised that the doctor couldn't fix me, and so, but I still have to be careful of that, because that's the first sign. If I start sleeping like 10 hours, I'm like, all right, your candida's out of control again. So I'm
Yeah.
really mindful of that now. I'm
There's
65
someone
now.
saying there, I'm 65 and want to look after my body.
Yeah.
Wanting to start up a meet up in Glasgow. So we have got a Glasgow Facebook Heal Scotland page, but it would be
Mhm.
great if someone wanted to start up a meet up for people. I know, because I know a couple of people that would definitely be up for getting together in Glasgow.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, do you want to take maybe hook a few people up and see, we could start one? Yeah. Let's do that. Let's take action. I had
Yes.
eczema bad in my body since young. My journey was similar to yours, Valerie. Motherhood was what took me on a journey. But the disease for me came after I was clean and moving. After an injury, my neck didn't help, and then the whole system was up in the air. Magic humans. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, none of us know when the curveballs come. You know, you can do what you can do, but you're still never guarantees. You never know what's going to happen like that. You have a fall, you eat something. Do you know what I mean? It's just like you, and you cannot live worrying about that. But I really feel that certainly we should all have an idea of what food is going to help us thrive, how reconnection to nature, you know, and again, letting more light into the body really, really helps. Any emotional stuff we're carrying from the past, and obviously, and ancestrally, because we now know we've inherited a lot of stuff. My daughter's type 1 diabetic. We don't have any. Surprising how many of the diabetes team.
I know, I've seen that. I've seen the NHS recommendations for a diabetic diet. It's absolutely shocking. I don't know if it's the same now, but it was all processed foods. It was ridiculous.
I know. It's I saw I seen Malhotra put up a meal that was served up in a Scottish heart hospital, and you're just like, what are we doing? You know, we're behaving as if we're stupid, and we're not. But it's just like, you know, it's like there's just that kind of look, it's just the way it is. It's the way it's always been, and we're actually going to have to go. No, this is absolutely outrageous. We have to start making sure our kids get great food, and our old people as well, because they're the vulnerable groups that are usually, somebody else is helping them with it. Hospitals, I mean, for God's sake. And we
No.
have to obviously get back to growing our own. School lunches are the same. They're horrendous. Packed lunch. Yeah, it's the food really clearly is a big thing. And then outside, getting kids outside and plenty of movement and exercise and fun. And I have to say here, there's, ours got scooters at Christmas and they're loving them and they're out playing in them, and they've got football and there's dance, there's things going on. So I think we have to really keep the focus on what's strong in the communities as well, and try and really push that and keep, because it's very, very simple to slip into the messages I've been getting this week since I posted about this, how many people are unwell and struggling. And that's really what we need. We need to help as many people as possible, but the way it's going to work, and somebody had put there, what about using the 12-step program? I think it's a really good idea, actually. Where was it? What about using the 12-step program as a model? As everyone is addicted to something, whether it's emotions, drink, sugar. Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
that's a really good idea. I think that we all need something to do. And I think Russell Brand talks about this a lot, because he's very honest about still wanting to, feed that narcissistic, addictive side of him. And so you go back to, right, okay, what's the guidelines here? What do I do? And you go through the steps. So it means that everybody has a framework, if you like, in order to go, right, okay, this is, and I'm doing Bible study just now, and it's the same thing. It's just like, get together every week, talk about it, and try to be as good a person as you can. And what you're doing, obviously, with this is you're trying to be as good to the body as you can be. And even like thinking horrible thoughts about your neighbours and judging yourself, all of that is not really good for you. And also and giving back and looking after each other in the community, it takes your eyes off you. And it's like Lynn McTaggart says, get over yourself. All highly processed foods and false foods, they are getting rid of meat, and I know it's mental,
That's
but we
actually
can
scary,
absolutely,
isn't it?
we
Yeah.
cannot even go down that. In Scotland, we've got tons of land. We need to be focusing on our farmers and our community gardens, because I think the community garden's great for all sorts of reasons, because all age groups can go there. There's still a lot of our older elders in the community that know how to grow food. They've got all the wee tips. They can skill share with us. We all need to learn how to grow our own food, and we need to learn how to forage, because we've got an abundant land. We've got the best food in the world here, rain food, salmon, trout, mackerel, herring, the berries, a huge amount of berries and brambles and raspberries and gooseberries. It's crazy the food that we've just got right out there, and it gets shipped away to other countries. It's just mad. And we absolutely need to change that. And we can do it, every single one of us, by going to the local farmers markets, keeping your money in your community. I know that's not always possible, especially if you've got a big family and you're in a low budget. But if you can, you definitely can support the little local shops. The Good Food Project that Steve's created, amazing stuff that he's doing. Get it delivered to your door. It's a cooperative. So yeah. So I think really what we're looking at is how what do you need to learn, would you say? What is it that you need to learn, and what is it that you need to have to heal? And how would that look to you? I mean, I obviously wanted Bob Dylan's house, a beautiful garden in Cairngorm National Park. I think this is what I'm really excited about. Skye. I don't know if you've not been there. It's incredible, isn't it, Hilary?
It's yeah, it's pretty special.
Spectacular. The land, the mountains. It's like, oh my God. So we've got everything here. Absolutely. The system is broken and only set to keep you in the pocket of Big Pharma. I'm part of local grow groups here in Dunoon. Keep cash. Yes, that's brilliant, Elizabeth. Brilliant. I'm growing hundreds of sunflowers in community this year. An idea to share and create action in the community, stop the spraying. I need community. Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is the thing, is you can tell even from this call, there's lots of people know exactly what we need to do. And but it's a case of like, let's just start doing it. Let's all
Yes.
get together, start a group, even just start it in your house.
Yeah.
With people round, because this is what we have to do. We have to create this groundswell. The harsh reality is, it's only the way it is because we've allowed it to become this way. And the minute we start going, no, you're not spraying our food with poisons, they see they're finding aluminium in bees now from the pesticides. The bees are getting bloody Alzheimer's. I mean, what the hell? But we can just stop that. That's completely within the power is with the people. And that's what we have to do, is start taking action. We need to get up and use your voice. We can't be blaming the apparent others all the time. A lot of people simply don't understand the shite that they're putting into their body is killing them very, very, very slowly. And their kids. No mum or dad deliberately poisons their kids. I don't believe that. Well, maybe some do, but in general, you're not. It's just you're tired. You don't know where else to eat. It's like. Whereas if we all pull together, we can change it. We can absolutely shift it around. I use frequency music every day. We need to stand up, gather, and create. Use our yes, absolutely we do, and we need to man up and get our thermals on and get outside in our waterproofs and get outside. I never went out today. I was just like, oh no, it's just. Well, I'm out this morning for a bit, but then I'm not going to struggle from that. So yeah, we have to. We've got water, tons of it. Plant and bee. We can shift it. Yes, we absolutely can shift it. So I really want your feedback on this. I think that in terms of the sound healing, the dancing, the singing, and the bonfires and all that, that's great, and we would have that quite naturally. But I don't think that's what really people need to learn. I'm more interested in what education do people need in order for them to go home and either spread the word in their community. The way I'm seeing it is that we can stream a lot of lives from this healing centre. We can share it out to the whole world, never mind the whole country, everything that we're doing and all the ideas that we're coming up with. So your input is going to be really key, because what we want to tailor make it for the people that need it, and make sure that we in Scotland, why should we not be leading the way in this? We absolutely can, but we have to get off our arses and do it and take action. I had a Monday in bed dreaming about the food I'm going to grow and sunflowers.
I love that. Blaming, shaming, and complaining. One of my favourite sayings these days, learned from the best. I have to agree with that.
No blaming, shaming, and complaining. It's just, I mean, we all do it, right? But it does not help. It doesn't help.
Well,
yeah, and there's nothing like a day in bed doing nothing. Wonder on FB does. Wonder on FB does foraging, mushrooms, etc. Yeah, I think our land provides. Not only does it provide an abundance, it provides it at the time and in the areas. How arrogant we ever got that we thought we knew better than God or the divine or whatever the hell you believe created or made all of this, the Big Bang, whatever you thought it was, whatever you think it is, it's the intelligence is mind-blowing. And why did we think, oh, we'll take it and we'll take this money? It's all about the dollar, the pound. So we need to get back. The land is providing all this phenomenal bounty of food. And, Hilary and I worked in the Wild Medicine Cafe and created lots of amazing, you couldn't have got any tastier. The stuff we had and all the biodynamic veggies out of Stuart and Helen's garden. We're so blessed and so lucky. And, it's really not rocket science, but we have to take action. We have to do it. So if you have got a local garden, then get down to it and make sure it's a great place to hang out. We know that there's an antidepressant action when we actually touch the soil. We are designed to be touching the earth, the land with our feet and with our hands. And we can bring these microbes in, and obviously that affects our microbiome. The whole thing is interconnected. The intelligence is mind-blowing, and we've just poisoned everything.
Yeah,
so
I noticed someone further up the chat was talking about guerrilla gardening. There's that Edible Towns that started in Todmorden. They've got a brilliant website, and you can download a pack to start your own edible town. They just plant food in all public places. You can just go and help yourself. And you see people with their baskets out gathering their produce. It's brilliant.
You've got that over in Butte, Incredible Edibles.
Yes. Yeah, it was started down south, and then it's just spread. I think anyone can do it. Just download the pack and get a group together to start in their community. So step by step through how to do it.
Lion's mane mushrooms. I've heard a few people say that lion's mane mushrooms are great. I'm not a big fan of just saying one thing makes me better, because then you get everybody buying that and thinking, I don't need to do anything else except take lion's mane. I think that we have to be looking at that whole diversity and the whole balance constantly, where it's just more allopathic. Take this and you'll get better. Take that and you'll get better. And it's just really not the way it works. It's all about what we're doing daily, and it's about the diversity. And it's about staying well. It's when we can remember who we are. Yeah, I hear a lot of people saying that, but I've still not remembered. So that's a wee bit too. I don't really, tapping into who you really are. Yeah, that's a big one. I use a combination of things with DMS. So yeah, I use a combination of things as well. I think I use all medicine and all Mother Earth. Yeah, this is really about people who are sick and have got things that they want to heal, and how we can help them. And it just becomes another thing. Oh, I do this, I do this, I take this, I take this, and it doesn't really help. We need to get very specific, and that's what I really want to do with the healing centre. Is like, what how can we actually help people and give them good advice without saying, oh, do a shamanic drumming thing, or do a dance, or it's got to be really practical and grounded, and in a way that people can understand and that they can do. And I think when you're all these things that you're talking about are fantastic, but they're probably for people that are a bit more educated already and exploring things. But we're talking about people that maybe don't know where to start. Where do you go? What do you do? How do you do it? Ethos on NHF, from what I remember.
Yeah, I think someone's just saying stripping back. I was going to say that. It's almost like going back to basics, taking out, because supplements and mushrooms and everything are great, but if you're not healthy and you've got a bad diet, science is now showing that unless you're actually being healthy and moving towards a healthier lifestyle, supplements are pointless. I think we know that anyway. So it's almost stripping everything back, getting the gut microbiome sorted out, and just simple step by step.
Sleep.
Yes, and then further down the line, if you're, when people are feeling better down the line, they can start. I experiment a little bit with different mushroom powders and different supplements and things just to see what works and what doesn't. But I think you have to be in a certain space with your health to actually figure out what's making a difference.
Well, this is the thing, and what we're doing, that scattergun approach. It's like, I'll try a bit of this, a bit, and everybody's really desperate because we're so conditioned to think you take a pill to get better. You want to take it, and a vitamin D, vitamin A, and you could just be rattling. What we really want to be doing again is just that, get back to basics. Let's start again. I use my aunt as a great example again. Brought up in plain, what we would probably call plain Scottish food, but great quality, no additives, cooked from scratch. never fermented in her life, never had a juicer, never did yoga, and she's walking again at 90, and you're like, so we need to remember it's not, it's not about all the amazing magical things you can add in. It's about not having the poison.
Yeah, stripping everything back and just doing all the
Yeah.
natural things.
Having
That
really, really, really clean food, and and a bit of a balance around that, and you're going to be fine.
yes, the hard bit is doing it.
You know.
Yeah.
You can show people how to start from scratch, teach all the practice. Yeah, I think it's probably as simple as that. We just go right back to basics.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of the body products and makeups as well, and toxic house products, really need to look at that, how to keep your space as, as non-poisoned as possible. Grassroots Remedies Co-op works in our community, sharing the simple methods brought from Lidl. Yeah, Lidl seem to be doing a lot of great work. They really do. And they like to use local, and that's really what we need to get back to. People we can trust, where that somebody's just grown that food, and it's, beautiful nutrient dense soil with, non-poisoned water. And you can eat the food and you're going to get absolutely nourished from it. Wholesome content needed in our community. Yeah, cleaning the inner terrain is vital too. My nephew has a brain tumour since with chemo for 4 years on and off. And wish you could understand the importance of. Yeah, I think that's a very good point. And like I was saying earlier, there's all different levels of cleansing depending on what's wrong with you. And that's what I want to do with my grandkids, is to make sure that they're educated and understand. I mean, like, my own kids didn't listen to a word I said either, but as they got older, they're all very aware now. So, don't get disillusioned and think you're not making an impact, because you are. And yeah, if it's school, obviously you're taught that your body's an innate healing machine, energy mass. Then when things happen, we could maybe take a very different approach. Yeah, it should be taught in all schools. But the problem is, Big Pharma has got a very tight grip around our government, and teaching people how to heal themselves is not going to make them rich. Yeah, I think definitely understanding how to cleanse the body, how to reset your gut. But again, all of these things, everybody again's wanting the quick 5-day protocol. But it's that continuity. It's that keeping it clean, get it clean. I know what I was like after I fasted there. I didn't want to put anything into my body because I was like, ooh, I'm so pristine. And then after a few days you're like, right, okay, it's fine. Yeah, just eat. Stop thinking of overthinking it. It's quite an interesting, it's such a psychological thing what we do. I get my water distiller going every day. Yeah. Good. So I think we've got a bit more research to do. If anybody's choosing not to have chemo, I'd be really, really interested to talk to them too. And yeah, send people my way that have got ideas of what they would like to see at the Healing Centre. I'm thinking courses, community, people that are maybe wanting to start something in their own communities. I don't know, it's not crystal clear for me yet how it's going to look. And that's why I wanted to do some market research and get you guys involved to see if I could get any great ideas. So, yeah, I think that'll do us. Have you got anything else, Hilary, before we?
I don't think so, no. No, it's been a good chat.
Yeah, and keep
Yeah.
the questions coming, because we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll probably do another live in another few weeks to see if anybody's coming up with more ideas. Yeah, and so here's to taking action. Get these groups started. That's all you need to do. Just get people around to your house. There's so many people struggling right now, and the intermittent fasting, I cannot recommend that highly enough. Again, the testimonies we've had last month are mental. It blows me away. Even if you can't change your diet, you can't give up whatever it is, just that 3 hours before you go to bed, that 1 hour in the morning, you are going to notice a difference. And obviously, we've got a breathwork challenge. We also have the Goddess Gathering in Dundee. It starts on Saturday, and then next week we're in Aberdeen. So please help us by spreading the word and sharing the information with as many people as you possibly can, because that's what you can really do to help us. A friend of mine does the CBD, and that is so important. Yeah, there's lots and lots of different ways, and we have to be careful what we're saying about cancer as well, because it can be very tricky depending on what the diagnosis is. So it amazes me what they do teach them from a young age. Okay, see you at the Tarbert Festival. Okay,
Yay.
fantastic, guys. Thanks so much for all your interaction. That's been really fascinating. And we will discuss it, and I'll be back with, and please just keep the suggestions coming. Okay, sleep well. Ciao.
Bye.